In a small, quiet town nestled between rolling hills and winding rivers, lived an old woman named Miss Evelyn. She wasn't rich. Her cottage had creaky floors and windows that rattled in the wind. She didn't dress fancy, always the same worn shawl and muddy garden boots. But what she did have was something rare, a smile that never seemed to leave her face. Every morning you'd see her sweeping her porch, humming to herself like the world had never disappointed her. Children waved as they passed by, teens said hello without being told, and even grumpy old Mr. Holloway tipped his hat to her. Everyone called her the heart of the village. One day, a young man named Ben, who had recently moved back to town after losing his job in the city, found himself walking past her gate. He'd heard the stories, how Evelyn was always cheerful, always kind, always hopeful. But to Ben, it didn't make sense. He was barely getting by, living in his parents' old house, unsure of what to do next. He couldn't understand how someone could be that content all the time. So one afternoon, when Evelyn was out planting marigolds, Ben leaned on her gate and asked, "Miss Evelyn, how do you do it? You always seem so happy. Don't bad things ever get to you?" She paused, looked up at him and smiled softly. "Of course they do," she said, patting the soil. "But I learned long ago, happiness isn't about what happens to you. It's about what you choose to hold on to." Ben frowned. "But what if there's nothing left to hold on to?" Evelyn stood up slowly, dusting off her hands. "Come in, dear. I'll tell you something I've never told anyone. Not the whole story, at least." He followed her inside. Her cottage smelled of cinnamon and old books. She poured him some tea and sat across from him, her eyes calm but heavy with memory. "When I was young," she began, "I had everything I thought I'd ever need. A kind husband named Thomas, a little boy named Jonah. We didn't have much money, but our home was filled with laughter and love." She paused, her voice softening. "Then one winter, Thomas caught a fever. The roads were snowed in, and the medicine never came in time. He died 3 days later. Just like that. I was 28. Ben blinked. I'm sorry." Evelyn nodded gently. "So was I, but I didn't have time to fall apart. Jonah was only 4. I had to be strong, for him, and for myself." She stared out the window for a moment, her thoughts far away. "I went back to work sewing clothes. At night, I would cry into my pillow, but by morning I'd put on my smile for Jonah. Not a fake smile, a real one. Because I realized he deserved a mother who showed him that pain doesn't have to steal your joy." Ben sat quietly, absorbing her words. "But then," Evelyn continued, "when Jonah turned 10, he got sick too. Doctors said it was leukemia. I begged the universe for a miracle, but 3 months later he was gone." Ben gasped. "You lost both of them?" "Yes," she whispered. "And for a long time I didn't think I'd survive it." She closed her eyes. "I stopped singing. I stopped planting flowers. I even stopped talking to my neighbors. Until one morning I woke up and realized, if I gave up, then their lives would have meant only sadness. But if I lived, really lived, then I could carry their joy with me." Ben swallowed hard. "So, you chose to be happy?" "I chose to honor their memory by living in color, not in gray," she said. "Every flower I plant, every smile I give, every pie I bake for a neighbor, it's a way of saying, I'm still here. I still love, I still hope." Ben looked around. The warmth in her home, the light in her eyes, it wasn't forced. It was built, carefully, brick by brick, memory by memory. "I never would have guessed," he whispered. "You seem so whole." Evelyn reached across the table and touched his hand. "No one's ever whole, Ben. We're all patched together. But if you use love as the thread, the seams hold." That day changed Ben. He started finding small reasons to smile, helping neighbors, fixing his dad's old radio, taking walks and noticing things, bird song, the smell of rain, the way light dances through trees. And something amazing happened. The more he looked for the good, the more he found it. Soon others noticed. People started talking more kindly, helping more freely. The village, once quiet and tired, began to bloom again. Not because of one grand event, but because one person chose to smile through the pain, and others followed. Miss Evelyn never saw herself as a hero, but in a world full of sorrow, she chose joy. Not because life was easy, but because love was worth it. And in the end, that made all the difference. SEO title, description, and hashtag